Welcome to the Arlington National Cemetery Tomb of the Unknown Soldier Centennial Celebration Education Program. Today is Medal of Honor Day, and the ANC Education Program is honored to bring you the third of 11 installments featuring topics which highlight the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. We will hear from the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Mark Milley, as he teaches us about the Medal of Honor and one of the gifts given to the World War I unknown, the war bonnet of Chief Plentycoo, leader of the Crow Nation. He will be followed by Air Vice Marshal Mick Smeeth of the United Kingdom, who will tell us of the first American soldiers to receive Britain's highest honor, the Victoria Cross. And finally, Lieutenant General Robert F. Foley, U.S. Army retired, and Medal of Honor recipient for his action in Vietnam. General Foley was the commanding general of the Military District of Washington and host of the disinterment of the Vietnam Unknown ceremony in 1998. He will discuss his actions near Quan Dao Tang, Republic of Vietnam, and why a wreath ceremony at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier is so important to our countrymen and our foreign visitors.
Welcome to Arlington National Cemetery's Medal of Honor Room. Here, the names of 3,506 men and one woman who have earned our nation's most prestigious military award are on display to the public. I am General Mark Milley, the 20th Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and I'm honored to participate in the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier's Centennial Commemoration. This year is the 100th anniversary of the Unknown Soldier. A century ago, the U.S. Medal of Honor and the Distinguished Service Cross were first presented to the unknown soldier along with the highest military honors from the United Kingdom, France, Poland, Belgium, Romania, Italy, and Czechoslovakia. Before its official creation, the original conception of the Medal of Honor dates back to our founding father, General George Washington. As Commander-in-Chief of the Continental Army, General Washington established the Badge of Military Merit in 1782. This cloth badge recognized soldiers who exhibited extraordinary fidelity and meritorious action. In 1863, during the American Civil War, the Congressional Medal of Honor was established as a permanent military decoration for both non-commissioned and commissioned officers. The Medal of Honor recognizes service members who, in combat, have gone above and beyond the call of duty to our nation. In 1905, by executive order, President Theodore Roosevelt affirmed that the Medal of Honor should be presented with a formal and momentous ceremony. Historically, the President presides over the Medal of Honor ceremony, whether in the field or at the White House. Today, there are only 69 living recipients of the Medal of Honor, and there are more than 400 recipients lying at rest here in Arlington National Cemetery. You have just seen the original gifts to the American Unknown Soldier. Now, let me direct your attention to a very significant and unique artifact, Chief Plentycoo's war bonnet. This headdress, similar to our own Medal of Honor, represents the Crow Nation's highest honor to the unknown soldier. Chief Plentycoo was born in 1848 and was originally named Buffalo Bull Facing the Wind. He served as a warrior, which earned him the name Plentycoo, symbolizing his achievements both in life and in battle. In many indigenous peoples' tribes of the Great Plains, the act of counting coup, or performing daring deeds on the battlefield, demonstrated a warrior ethos. Each feather in the headdress represents an important feat achieved in war or peace. With each coup he earned, Chief Plentycoo cemented his unmatched reputation and his fame. Chief Plentycoo was the leader of the largest Crow Nation group, the Mountain Crow of Montana. He served in this capacity for many years, both as a fearsome warrior and a skilled ambassador. He proved an exceptional negotiator, convincing the United States Senate to preserve Mountain Crow lands in Montana. The Army invited Chief Plentycoo to the burial of America's unknown soldier from the First World War. At this hallowed ceremony, Chief Plentycoo gifted the object that embodies the highest honor of his people, his war bonnet and his coup sticks.
The Victoria Cross is the highest and most prestigious award for bravery and valour in the presence of the enemy within the British honours system. It is primarily awarded to members of the British Armed Forces from all ranks, but has also been awarded to armed forces from the Commonwealth countries and to a number of US citizens, 4 of whom took part in the Great War. The medal has also been awarded to the United States of America's unknown soldier interned here at Arlington Cemetery. The Victoria Cross owes its inception to the Crimean War, which was the first major war to be reported on by media correspondents. The reports by the Times newspaper correspondent William Russell have brought home to the British public the extraordinary gallantry of Britain's forces, and there was a widespread feeling that more should be done to honour their bravery and sacrifice. Consequently, Victoria Cross was instituted by a royal warrant in 1856 by Queen Victoria. The medal takes the form of a Maltese cross of bronze, with the obverse having the main feature of a royal crown surmounted by a standing lion with a ribbon underneath, bearing the motto for valour. The reverse of the medal is unique, as each one awarded is engraved with the individual details of the recipient and includes the date of the act. The medal hangs from a crimson ribbon. It is said that the medals are cast from the bronze of guns captured from the Russians in Crimea, although there is the possibility that the bronze cannon was in fact Chinese, having been captured during the First China War and then stored at the Royal Arsenal in Woolwich. The first investiture took place in Hyde Park, London, in June 1857, when 62 Victoria Crosses were presented by Her Majesty Queen Victoria in front of a cheering crowd of 100,000 people. The medal has now been awarded 1,358 times, with the recipients' names promulgated in the London Gazette. So great is the prestige of the Victoria Cross that it takes precedence over all other orders, decorations and medals in the United Kingdom, and recipients are entitled to add VC after their name. On the 4th of March 1921, the United States Congress approved the burial of an unknown soldier from the First World War, with the interment ceremony taking place on the 11th of November that same year here at Arlington Cemetery. During the ceremony, the unknown soldier was presented with the Victoria Cross by the United Kingdom's Admiral of the Fleet, Lord Beatty, on behalf of King George V. To mark the occasion, the King sent a telegram to the United States of America stating, "On Armistice Day, the representatives of the British Empire in Washington will join with you in a ceremony held to honour the splendid record of your troops. I greatly wish on that occasion to confer on your unknown warrior our highest decoration of valour, the Victoria Cross." This was the first occasion that the most prestigious of medals had been bestowed on the subject of another state. 4 men would go on from the United States of America to be awarded the Victoria Cross for gallantry during the First World War. The first of these was George Harry Mullen, born in Portland in 1891. During the First World War, Mullen served in the Scout and Sniper section of Princess Patricia's Canadian Light Infantry. On the 30th of October 1917, near Passchendaele in Belgium, a company of the Canadian Light Infantry was attempting to eliminate a German pillbox that was blocking its advance and causing heavy casualties. While one group, led by Lieutenant Hugh Mackenzie, made a frontal attack on the pillbox and drew its fire, Sergeant Mullen approached from the flank and crawled onto the top of the concrete structure, disposing of an enemy sniper's position on the way. From this vantage point, Mullen shot 2 German machine gunners with his revolver before compelling the other 10 occupants of the pillbox to surrender. His gallantry and fearlessness were witnessed by many, and although rapid fire was directed upon him and his clothes riddled by bullets, he never faltered in his purpose, and he not only helped to save the situation, but also indirectly saved many lives. The second US recipient was William Henry Metcalfe, who was born in Waite Township in 1885. Lance Corporal Metcalfe earned the Victoria Cross on the 2nd of September 1918 in France during the Second Battle of Arras. On that day, the right flank of an attack by his battalion on a German trench was being held up by heavy resistance. Having assessed the situation, Metcalfe hurried forward under intense machine gun fire to contact a tank passing to his left. Using a signal flag, he walked in front of the tank and directed it along the length of the enemy trench. As the tank fired down into the German trench, the machine gun positions were eliminated and heavy casualties inflicted on the enemy defenders. Though he was wounded in this action, Lance Corporal Metcalfe continued to advance until he was ordered out of the firing line to have his wound treated. Later, although wounded, he continued to advance until ordered to get into a shell hole and have his wounds dressed. The third US recipient of the Victoria Cross was Bellenden Seymour Hutchison, who was born at Mount Carmel in December 1883. A graduate of the Northwestern University Medical School, Dr. Hutchison practiced for several years in the American West. On the 2nd September 1918, Captain Hutchison was treating wounded soldiers under intense shelling and small arms fire while serving in France. His citation read, "For most conspicuous bravery and devotion to duty, when under the most intense fire from machine guns and rifles, he went through the support line with the battalion, and without hesitation and under utter disregard for his personal safety, he remained on the field until every wounded man had been attended to. He dressed the injuries of a seriously wounded officer under terrific machine gun and shell fire, and, with the assistance of prisoners and of his own men, succeeded in evacuating him to safety, even though the bearer party suffered heavy casualties. Immediately afterwards, he rushed forward in full view of the enemy under heavy machine gun and rifle fire to tend a wounded sergeant and, having placed him in a shell hole, dressed his wounds. Captain Hutchison performed many similar gallant acts, and by his coolness and devotion to duty, many lives were saved. He was awarded the Military Cross as well as the Victoria Cross for his actions. The fourth US recipient was Raphael Louis Zengel, who was born in 1894 in Faribault, United States. On the 9th of August 1918, Sergeant Zengel was leading his platoon forward during the second day of the massive Allied offensive against the German lines around Amiens in France. When he noticed a gap on the flank of his platoon and an enemy machine gun firing on the advancing Canadians at close range, he quickly decided to deal with the machine gun position himself. Rushing 200 metres ahead of his platoon, Zengel charged the German emplacement, killing 2 of the machine gun's crews and compelling the rest to flee. Later that day, when the progress of the 5th Battalion was blocked by heavy machine gun fire, he demonstrated great tactical skill in directing the fire of his platoon to eliminate the enemy resistance. Sergeant Zengel's courage, leadership, and disregard for his own safety inspired his men and were important factors in enabling the advance to continue. For this conduct on this day, he was awarded the Victoria Cross. Many years later, prior to the centennial anniversary of the First World War in 2014, the government of Great Britain, through the embassy in Washington, D.C., requested that the Victoria Cross they awarded to the unknown soldier here at Arlington Cemetery be returned for refurbishment. A member of the British Army staff at the embassy, Major Nick Bridle, took possession of the priceless artefact, placed it in a case, handcuffed it to his wrist, and returned it to London. There, the medal went to Her Royal Highness's Queen Elizabeth's jeweller and was made ready for presentation. The process resulted in the replacement of the original faded ribbon, light cleaning of the metal, and a special backing. Major Bridle returned the Victoria Cross the following week in advance of a wreath-laying ceremony and a presentation of a bronze plaque honouring the American Victoria Cross recipients from the First World War by British royal families Princess Anne and Admiral Sir Tim Lawrence. Importantly, both artefacts remain on display as an enduring symbol of our two nations' underlying friendship and alliance, and of the sacrifice and exceptional bravery demonstrated by those from the United States of America during the Great War.
I'm Robert Foley, Lieutenant General, U.S. Army, retired. When I was the Commanding General of the U.S. Army Military District of Washington, I was the host for 109 wreath-laying ceremonies at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier in Arlington National Cemetery. 6 of those ceremonies were with the President of the United States on Memorial Day and Veterans Day, and 103 were with foreign heads of state, ministers of defense, or chiefs of their respective defense forces. In addition, 30 of the ceremonies were with delegations from Eastern European nations and former Soviet socialist republics, many who were coming to America for the first time. Each ceremony began with the national anthems of the United States and the visiting nation, followed by the wreath-laying and a bugle-playing taps. I concluded the ceremony with a brief presentation on the history of the tomb interments. I'm convinced that the foreign dignitaries came away from their visit with 2 distinct impressions. First, America's values were ably represented by the tomb sentinels, who are on guard 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, in honor of American citizens who lost their identity while making the ultimate sacrifice for their country. Secondly, the 150 members of the Joint Service Honor Guard created a powerful image of the U.S. Armed Forces with their rifle and fixed bayonet precision drill. One loud crack was heard when the soldiers, Marines, sailors, airmen, and Coast Guardsmen clicked their heels in unison at the command of attention, and one loud slap as they grabbed their rifles at the command of present arms. The highest accolade I heard during my tenure came from the delegate of an Eastern European nation who said to his colleague as they were departing from the tomb, "I think we should stick with these guys." The Medal of Honor has been awarded by the President of the United States to each of the unknowns. President Harding awarded the Medal of Honor to the World War I unknown soldier in 1921. President Eisenhower to the unknowns from World War II and Korea in 1958. And President Reagan awarded the Medal of Honor to the unknown service member from Vietnam in 1984. On 1 May 1968, President Johnson awarded me the Medal of Honor for my actions as a rifle company commander during the war in Vietnam. I was the commanding officer of Alpha Company, 2nd Battalion, 27th Infantry, the Wolfhounds. We were engaged in a multi-battalion operation in Tay Ninh Province, 50 kilometers northwest of Saigon. We were fighting elements of the 9th Viet Cong Division, which had been reinforced with a regiment from the North Vietnamese Army. The area of operation that we were involved in was marked with dense jungle, triple canopy trees, which limited visibility to 10 to 15 meters. On 4 November 1966, our Charlie Company went the wrong way after they landed into a landing zone and ended up behind enemy lines. Unfortunately, they suffered a lot of casualties in the process. At 1 o'clock in the morning on 5 November, I received orders to conduct a daylight attack, to break through the enemy bunker system, link up with Charlie Company, and evacuate, form a corridor back through enemy lines and evacuate Charlie Company with all their casualties back to friendly lines. I sat there thinking this was a terribly complex mission. But if we didn't go, who would? These were our Wolfhound brothers, and they were in trouble. With only a few hours to daylight, I went back and briefed my platoon leaders. At 07:30, we crossed the line of departure. And we got about 30 meters beyond the friendly lines when we were hit with automatic weapons fire, enemy machine guns, hand grenades, snipers in trees. We continued to move forward and we returned fire, but we were moving very slow and we weren't making much progress. And we were taking way too many casualties. At some point in the battle, an M60 machine gunner to my right front was hit in the legs and went down. I went over to the M60 machine gunner, and with another soldier, we linked as much ammunition as we could into a long chain, and we threw that over my right shoulder and over my back, and I told the soldier, "You're going to be my assistant gunner. Grab all the rest of the ammo and let's go." We moved forward quickly towards the enemy bunker complex, and when we arrived, you could see the enemy bunkers and the trench system ahead of us. As soon as we got to that area, I grabbed the M60 machine gun and I started engaging 3 bunkers that were to my right front. And I continued to engage those bunkers until the enemy fire was silenced. And then I continued to engage all along the enemy trench line to any movement whatsoever. As I turned, I could see my soldiers filling in positions beside me, to my left and to my right. And in short order, there was a surge of Alpha Company soldiers that came forward, firing their weapons, throwing hand grenades into the enemy trenches. The enemy withdrew. At this point, I had 3 platoons online, but we'd been in the fight for 3.5 hours. We'd taken heavy casualties, and we're low on ammunition, and I knew that we couldn't advance any further. As I sat there contemplating what to do next, I received a call from the battalion operations officer, who was also the acting battalion commander because our battalion commander had been killed the day before. And he said, due to your assault, the NVA uncovered Charlie Company. And when that happened, an ad hoc task force came down from the north, linked up with Charlie Company, and evacuated all their casualties. So your job is done. You need to withdraw. And as we withdrew, my thoughts were with these tough Wolfhound soldiers, whose invincible spirit had made all the difference. We had 13 KIA and 31 wounded, but they never hesitated, they never wavered. They just carried out this difficult task with courage and determination.
Thank you for joining us today as we celebrate the Medal of Honor and its place in history with the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. Throughout 2021, Arlington National Cemetery is commemorating the centennial anniversary of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, and you can read more about the history of the tomb and the unknowns, as well as events planned for the centennial, by going to www.arlingtoncemetery.mil/TUS100.